Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is David Milan and today I wanted to talk to you about how I use Notion for parenting. I'll be covering how I use Notion to keep track of the intentions that I have as a parent, any activities that my kids do, any medical visits that they have to go to, things that I want to buy them, any resources that I come across, so articles and podcasts and how I keep track of them, and also tasks that I have to do as a parent. So recently I was talking with a friend about how some people are completely different when it comes to work and personal context. In a work setting, they're very corporate, very disciplined, very focused. In a personal setting, they're more chilled out, and that's fine. Obviously, no harm done. So what my friend and I were reflecting on is that when it comes to our careers, we're both very intentional. When we're working for a company, we understand the company's values and the vision, and we set goals and we review them. But in our personal lives, sometimes we lose some of that focus. We lose some of that intentionality. And lately I've been trying to bring some of that focus that I bring to my career to my role as a father, which I really consider to be one of the most important roles that I've ever held. And so that's what I wanted to discuss today, and that's what I'll be showing in my system that I've developed in Notion, which I think is starting to help me to have some more of that focus and to be more intentional as a parent. So let's jump into it. I keep parenting in my areas section of Notion. I won't be going into a lot of detail about how I structure things in Notion. I do use the PARA methodology, which was developed by Tiago Forte, PARA standing for Projects, Areas, Resources, and Archives. Marie Poulin recently dropped a new video on how to structure things according to PARA, just on her channel last week. So I'll include a link in the description where you can have a look at her video. She goes into a lot of detail around how she structures things according to PARA. So this is the parenting database here. As you can see at the top, I have put a list of intentions. So these intentions here are behaviors and values and ways that my wife and I are trying to parent our children. And we don't always get it right. Parenting is obviously, it's tough and it's hard, but that's what makes it rewarding. And sometimes it's difficult to demonstrate all of these things. But I've put them here at the top so that whenever I open this database, this page, I'm reminded of the intentions that we have for our parenting and also some of the behaviors that we're trying to cultivate and develop in our children. Now, before I go any further, I wanted to make it really clear that there's so many different ways to parent. Some of you may think, ugh, this is a bit gross, way too structured, way too nerdy, and that's fine. I'm just trying to do the best that I can. And I think that's what most parents are trying to do. So however you are trying to parent, I wish you all the best on your journey. It's tough, but obviously it's rewarding. Okay, so activities. This is a database that I've put together. This is showing in board view. I'll show you the difference between table and board view. This is a database which looks at all of the different activities that our children are doing. This is table view. It lists the different activities, the day, the child, and then also where we're trying to align it to some of the different intentions that we have. So if I go to this view here, which is an all children board view, it'll just show all of the different activities that our kids are doing throughout the week and what day they're doing them and who is doing them as well. And so that way we can have a look and see, okay, what are they doing at the time? This does look pretty heavy in terms of a schedule, but the typing club is just 10 minutes every night. I really do think that Typing Club is a great resource for kids to try to teach them how to learn how to touch type. I'll include a link in the description to another video where I discussed Typing Club in more detail. So if I go down here to medical, there are 3 different tables in this database here or in this view. So if I'll just open all of those up. So medical visits and immunizations, allergies and conditions, and medications. So I'll show you the first one, medical visits and immunizations. This is just a way of keeping track of any time we take the children to a doctor or they get an immunization, try to record it in here so that we have everything in one place so we can come back and reference it if we need. So at the moment, this is a list view. As you would know, in Notion, there's different ways of looking at the same data. If you wanted to, you could look at this in the table view, which records, the doctor, the child, the date, where we went, the diagnosis or a summary, those types of things. What's great about Notion is that everything is really a page and you can open up and add detail. So if this one here, allergen test, for example, This is a PDF from a doctor's visit that we went to, which you can embed into that page there put in some notes, include a photo if you want. This is my son's allergy test where we discovered he's allergic to nuts. Great for us. So that is really an example of how you can use Notion to store data. So the next one is allergies and conditions. As you just saw, my son has a bit of a nut allergy. So in here, I've recorded some of his allergies and conditions. And in this column here, I am referencing that previous page. So the great thing about Notion is that you can make connections between different pages. So this column here is referencing that other page that I just showed you. So you can really jump between two different sets of data in different pages. So it helps you to make connections between different things. The final one here is medications. Thankfully, our children don't have any medication at this stage, but if they were to have something, we could record it, record the dosage, keep everything all in the one place. So the final one on this page is family medical history. That's a database that I've created which lists members of our family and the medical conditions that they have. So that has my in-laws in it. I'm already a bit on the outer with them, so I don't really want to bring up their medical history. I did cover this in a different video where I put together a fictional family, which you can see on the screen here. So this family medical history database basically tracks, who in the family has the condition and then who could it potentially affect. So I'll include a link in the description to the other video where I covered that in more detail. That's something that you might be interested in looking at. So that is medical. Move on to the to buy page. As I mentioned earlier, the great thing about Notion is that you're able to pull information from different places within Notion. So this is the overall parenting database that I've put together. It's kind of a parenting hub, but it's pulling from different databases that are in my Notion workspace. And this is another example of that. So I have a things to buy database where I save different things that I'm saving up for or looking to buy or wanting to buy for my kids or for my wife. And I've included a linked view in here so it can pull from that database. And so I've created a view called Kids Only, and I've set a filter so that it brings up only any things to buy which are tagged to either my son or my daughter. And I'll show you how easy it is to create a linked database view. So I'll just delete this whole page here, or that view. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a linked database which will pull from that previous database that I just mentioned. So I'll create there, and then I'll type in things to buy. That is the database that I'm looking for. And then what I can do is click on add a view, and I'll make it a gallery view, kids only. And I'll click on create. And then if I come up here to filter, so I'll change the filter to only bring up my son, for example. And so then now it will only bring up any things that I've saved that are tagged with his name. Another great thing that I like about Notion is that you can add tables and PDFs and all manner of things to a page. So you'll see here that Marvel Encyclopedia, that's a book that my son has been saving up for and just recently bought. And he was doing different jobs to save up for that book. If I open this up, you'll see here I have a table that I created within this page, and it's called Edward's Jobs for the Books. And so you can see the different things that he was doing to make money and earn money for that book. And so he ended up making $60. He did actually make $68, but you'll see there, there's a comment there called taxes monster comment, minus $8. He called his sister a monster, and so he had to pay taxes for that, because you can't call your sister a monster, even if she is one. Maybe. Hey, do you need some help taking your shoes off?
Do not
This is, I touch it?
No. This next one here is resources. What I've done here, again, this is pulling from a separate database. And again, I've created a filter, only show any articles or any content that contains parenting. And so just the other day, I listened to a great podcast. It's just come out, and I added it to Notion, and then I've put in my notes on the podcast and what I was thinking about it at the time. So that way I can come back to it later and I can reflect on it and remember, oh, this is why I listened to it, and this is the value that I got from it. Or this is the value that I gleaned from it. In resources, I also have a link to my books database, which again is a separate database that I've created a view for, and I've created a view where I'm filtering only by any books which are linked to parenting. And if you're interested, I've put together a video called How I Read Books Using Notion. I'll include a link in the description to that as well. I'll just show you quickly now. So this one here, for example, The Whole Brain Child, I can bring that up. It has my rating, when I read it, any of the notes that I had on the book at the time, and then I can export my notes and my highlights from my Kindle and save it as a PDF into this page. So, and then this page is in my parenting database, all in the one place. So it makes it really easy to access information and keep track of the things that I'm reading, the things that I'm listening to, and have it there ready to reference as I'm parenting and trying to make sense of what I'm doing. The final one is tasks, which is basically any tasks related to parenting or related to my kids. So example here, buy Marvel book. So I created that one, or this one here, flu shot, what do I need to do? Flu shots for both kids, what are the component parts? Call GP, book appointment, do that thing. This is pulling from my overall master task database. Again, I'll include a link in the description to Marie Poulin's YouTube channel. She covers how to build a master task database in a lot of detail, and that's what I'm using here. So that's been an overview of my parenting page, my parenting database, which is pulling through multiple different databases. I hope that this has been useful for you. If you have enjoyed this video, I'll include links to all of the different videos that I've covered and mentioned as part of this video, and links to any of the articles that I've mentioned as well. Thanks again for taking the time to watch, and I will see you in the next video.